when people ask, so where are you from? It seems simple, but it's really not. Because the question is, you mean where was I born? Or where did I grow up? Or where did I spend most of my life? Or where did I spend my older growing up years, high school years? Or where did I spend my younger years? More, to answer that question, I used to just literally say, oh, I've been everywhere. And I've had people, or I'd, sing Johnny Cash kind of deal. And I've had people get offended, like, oh, fine, don't answer. I'm like, literally, do you want me to list every city and state that I have lived in every single year since I was born? Because that's the conversation when you ask, where am I from? Nella, what then is my stance on the rest of us Americans making our homes in the States? Considering the fact that the same issue happened here, right, forever ago with people who were here first. I honestly, the concept of land ownership has always been a little bit like this to me, because it didn't belong to anybody in the first place, and someone with some kind of inner authority, or like some sort of, I don't know, something, decided that they were the ones that should have the authority to decide what to do with places and people. And obviously that's fucking totally inappropriate. It comes out of arrogance. It comes out of, what's it called? Misalignment within ourselves, that we think that we should go cleanse the earth of people who don't look like us or act like us. I mean, we don't, okay. We can get deep, deep, deep into the kind of arrogance it takes to be, to pillage and plunder. Yeah. Sandy, it's nobody's land. It belongs to everybody. The earth is not just one person's place to exist, right? But some people think it's so. And that I've never quite understood. And like, who gave you the fucking right? Like, who made you boss? Who died and made you king? Oh, the last king? Oh. Well, who decided he should be king in the first place? He did. Oh, I see. So we're just talking about arrogance. We're just talking about verbose nature. We're burning cinnamon this morning with our Palo Santo. Lily, do I believe bad people exist? Really awesome question. And it kind of just depends on the conversation and who I'm talking to and how I'm talking about it, right? It depends on the perspective we're talking about it from. Do I believe bad people exist? No. Do I believe that we can become very imbalanced and then operate in ways that are really unhealthy for ourselves and other people? Absolutely. Does that make you a bad person? No. Nella, you wish that as a collective we would turn back to the communal co-op style of living and raising humans. So a lot of people are. A lot of people are, and if that's something that you feel called to in your heart, then I encourage you to reach out and find the people who are doing it. I am one of those people who are actually doing it. Although we are actively looking for land. Excuse me, doggo. I need to sit there. That's my spot. You got your head on my pillow. We are actively looking for land, but I have a lead on a piece that's 100 acres, and once we get that, I will very likely start bringing people actually to the property. I have lived in several communal style, intentional community style settings, and learned a great deal, and so we are doing it. A lot of us are. Because a lot of us need it, right? We recognize that the system no longer serves us, the collective, in the way that it should. And it's not sustainable that way. Dog, hello, sir. Hi, Miss Pat, how are you? Sir, I'm concerned that your butt is going to butt into my coffee. Hello. Okay. You need some pets. Here. Hold on. Dog needs his time. Everyone, this is Ajna. Ajna is the most huggin' dog you will ever meet. Are you done? Can you lay down without hitting my coffee? There you go. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So my friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody's online. We are past 10 o'clock. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. For those of you new here, my name is Reverend Deborah. I am an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman. Oh, I'm not spilling coffee, that's good. And this is Ajna. Apparently he needs some screen time today. He needs some air time today. So he's going to get his 15 minutes of fame here with some snuggles. And we are going to move into our Kundalini Kriya. For those of you new, hello. We are on our day 2 of a 40-day meat suit challenge. What's a meat suit? This is my meat suit. This is your meat suit. And we do a 40-day challenge to solidify a new habit into our world, into our lives. Sir, can you sit down? I can't pet you if you are trying to push me over. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Thank you. Okay. So, we are on day 2 of a 40-day Kundalini Kriya. Let me give this a tilt here. Okay. And this is a 5-minute Kriya. It is the Kriya for addiction. What do we mean? When I say addiction, I mean any behavior, any habit, any thought pattern, anything that we do that consistently pulls us off balance, but we continue to choose it. Sir, what is the matter? What is the matter? Okay, here. Okay, all right. Apparently he did not get enough scritches this morning. My doggo is my dharma, Derek. Okay, so this is a 5-minute Kriya. What is a Kriya? Kriyas are actions that we do for ourselves, within ourselves, to align our system. Karma means action. So does Kriya mean action. They are 2 different types of actions. Karma is an external action that affects the external world and the people around us, and therefore incurs karma. Kriyas are actions that we do within ourselves to release some of that karma. So, or not just to release the karma, but to align ourselves with our truth, our purpose, our authenticity, so that we can actually resonate ourselves out of that cycle of samsara. So it's one of the pieces of getting ourselves off of the cycle of karma. Is that it? Is that it? This is my Kriya for this morning. Okay, so this Kriya, the Kriya for addiction, works to strengthen the connection between the front and the back of the third eye. The front of the third eye chakra is here at the brow. The back of the third eye chakra is at the pineal gland, right at the base of the skull. And so the third eye chakra goes at a 90 or 45 degree angle through the head. So this Kriya is available for anyone who would like to practice the Kriya. It is 5 minutes. If at some point it becomes too intense for you, go ahead and release your arms. We are going to start the Kriya actually here in just a minute so that we can time it right. It's, like I said, it's a 5-minute Kriya. So if you'd like to join us, it is a Kriya that you want to be seated upright for. The Kriya for addiction, for releasing any pattern, any habit that pulls us off balance that we consistently pursue even when it pulls us off balance. So the way we do this practice, I will begin with the Adi mantra. If you know the Adi mantra, please feel free to recite it yourself. You can also just listen in while I do the Adi mantra. Then we will close our fists like so, curling the thumbs into the palm, and then or the fingers into the palm, and then we place the thumbs gently on our temple. gently on the temple. You want to find the spot that when you clench your back molars, again, gently. We're not trying to break any teeth here. It's just an intentional squeeze and release of the back molars. When you do that, you'll feel your temples pulse. This is where you want to rest your thumbs on your temple. We're not poking holes in our temples, okay? So make sure that this is a nice intentional connection. You will clench at a nice steady rhythm your back molars, and with each clench you will say sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma. Say that in your head so that you can continue with the clenching. Obviously, I will need to be silent so I can do my Kriya with you guys. So remember that mantra, sa, ta, na, ma. Each clench, one of those words, sa, ta, na, ma. For a full 5 minutes. If at any point your arms become too tired, you can rest them palms up on your thighs. Continue clenching if you can do so. If you have any issues with jaw or tension in the head or the eyes or anywhere up in your head, and it becomes a problem during this practice, then again, release the palms and release the clenching and continue with the mantra. Sa, ta, na, ma. Go ahead and let go of the pieces that are causing tension. This is a 40-day practice. I encourage you to see if you can go a little bit longer each time, but forcing ourselves the first day or two to get it all the way through, if it's not really available, we can potentially hurt ourselves, right? This is not a space where we make a battle within ourselves. This is a space where we meet ourselves with curiosity and willingness and compassion if we can muster it, patience if we can muster it, but at the very least, curiosity and willingness rather than force and judgment, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Find yourself your comfortable seated position. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths to fully arrive for our practice. Go ahead and just close your eyes, rest your palms in your lap. And we're going to take those 3 deep breaths, beginning by inhaling through the nose, pulling the breath through the lungs and into the belly. And sigh it out. Inhale again, expanding the rib cage in all directions, front, sides, and back. And let it go. Inhale again, lifting the heart and lifting through the top of the head to elongate the spine. As you exhale, gently tuck the chin and allow the shoulder blades to melt down your back, releasing tension in the jaw, in the forehead, in the back, in the legs, releasing all tension with that exhale. Once you complete the exhale, seal the lips and take a moment just to follow the breath, inhaling all the way to the top, exhaling all the way to the bottom. Go ahead and bring your palms together at the heart. And before we say the Adi mantra, I encourage you to take a moment here to think about the things that are pulling you off balance. Sort of like setting an intention. Give your attention to the things that you would like to release. If there's nothing specific, just invite the alignment. Invite the strengthening connection of your third eye. Invite the ability to communicate more clearly with your subconscious and superconscious self. And take this moment with earnest, with compassion, instead of berating yourself for the things that you're trying to let go of. I encourage you to state them confidently. This is what we are doing. I trust that this practice will benefit my whole self. We will repeat the Adi mantra 3 times. Feel free to join me or recite it if you know it. And if not, you can just go ahead and listen in. Inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. and bring the thumbs up to touch the temples. Curl the fingers into the palm, palms facing forward. Nice long spine. And then begin clenching the jaw again. Sa, ta, na, ma. Inhaling slowly, exhaling slowly. Keep a nice steady rhythm as you gently clench the jaw, gently resting the thumbs on the temples, feeling the pulse of the clenching jaw for a full 5 minutes. Here we go. Once you've completed your last round of mantra, go ahead and release the arms, palms up in the lap. Keep your eyes closed and just rest for a moment here. Allow the sensations generated by this Kriya to dissipate, to integrate into the system. As you sit here, just follow the breath and notice the sensations in the body, in the mind. As you rest, offer a gentle smile to the body, to the breath, to the mind, to the practice. Release any tension in the body. And when you're ready, we'll close our practice with the Adi Mantra 3 more times. Again, you can follow along or just listen. Go ahead and inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Go ahead and rub your palms together, warm them up, cup them over your eyes. Your eyes have been closed for some time, so go ahead and flutter your eyes open behind your palms before committing to this reality. That one got a little deeper today. The thing I love about doing a 40-day Kriya is the process, is the shifting each day. And the noticing when some days are harder than others, right? So just as a side note, remember I do have a reflection journal to go with this practice. It's available on patreon.com/move with change. If you'd like a link for it, you can also just send me a message. You're very welcome, Nikki. This is a 40-day Kriya for addiction. When I say addiction, I'm referring to any habit that we perpetually choose that continues to pull us off balance. So what this Kriya does to help right that or release that pattern is improves and it strengthens the connection to the third eye and the connection within the third eye. It clarifies the third eye itself, the channel between the front of the third eye and the back of the third eye. Remember, the front of your third eye is here at the brow. The back of the third eye is at the base of the skull, at the pineal gland. Goes at a 45-degree angle, and it allows us to hear both our subconscious and our superconscious self. That's another piece, Nella. So in that reflection journal, you get explanation for all the mantras, all the pieces, what each of them means. I don't always remember them all off the top of my head, but they are there. The Adi Mantra is a mantra that connects us to the lineage of all the teachers that have come before and will continue to connect us, right, to everyone who teaches, who practices Kundalini Yoga. I am a 300-hour Kundalini Yoga teacher, and it is a way of tuning in to all the teachers, right, all the teachers of time. Sa, ta, na, ma are iterations of creation, of different parts of it, different parts of existence. So the explanation and all the details about the mantra and some more about the Kriya are available in that workbook. Again, that workbook is, and also I created 2 questions for each day of this 40-day practice. One is a reflective and one is explorative. So it allows you to think back on your practice and then also dig a little bit deeper into the practice and your reasoning and intentions behind the practice. So I encourage you to grab that journal if you want to. If not, the next best thing is to come join us in Discord, where we're gonna spend more time chatting about it, more platform, right, more space to chat about the Kriya and share our experiences. Sunshine, you often get headaches in the back of your head there. So a lot of the things that we do in our day-to-day are not really great for and a lot of the things that we consume are not great for the pineal gland. I don't know if you've ever heard of calcifying of the pineal gland. Thank you for letting me know, Tom. I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys. At this point, I think we've said it enough. And Leb, I wanted to go ahead and talk to you as well. I think we've said it enough that this is a CAYA space. And we've got enough of a following and enough of a community that I trust that you guys know what this space is about. And plus, when you come into the space, it says what this space is about. So I'm going to go ahead and put those boundaries out a little bit further. Thank you for muting during the meditation, because this is a space where we cultivate a sense of personal responsibility. This is not a space where we come in to fight with each other, to belittle each other, to try to get one over, right? To try to express that excessive solar plexus energy, or try to pull energy from other people by battling, belittling, being arrogant, and these kinds of things. We can practice meeting each other with compassion, meeting each other with curiosity and willingness. And I encourage everybody to do that in here. And if you see somebody who's not doing it in here, please help the moderators and alert them, say something. I encourage everyone, when you see someone who comes into this space that's being combative or divisive, not to engage in a combative or divisive way, right? Let's all practice compassion, even for the person who comes in screaming and stomping like a toddler, demanding everyone's attention, right? What do we do when someone is behaving that way? If we give them our attention, we're condoning that behavior. And so I encourage you in here to just say, oh, hey, this is not the space. Okay? And we only mute so that people can come back, because I encourage you to come back and try again, right? You can try again. We would love for you to come back and cultivate that sense of personal responsibility so we can all enjoy a safe space. But I am also feel like it's important for us to protect the community by setting those boundaries and being more firm about those boundaries. I've decided after a couple of sessions lately to just be more firm about those boundaries. We don't need that kind of energy in the community, and I appreciate you guys all. Okay, so I'm grateful you said something about the pineal gland and headaches back here, because we do still have a new mudra for this week. This is our Bhakti Bites class. I'm doing the Kriya every day at 10 a.m. for 40 days. That's its own practice. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I go live for Bhakti Bites and chair yoga and tiny yoga on Fridays. During the week, we learn a mudra. Thank you, Leb. We learn a mudra. So our mudra this week is the... Let me get the Sanskrit here. Mahasirs Mudra. And this is a mudra for headaches. This is the mudra for relieving tension in the back of the head, in the front of the head, in the sinuses, in the sinus region, in the ears, and in the jaw. All of that helping bring clarity of mind. When we have tension in our head somewhere, it's kind of hard to keep our head clear, right? It's very distracting for the brain and for the body. Pressure in the head sucks. So this mudra this week is for headaches, congestion, sinus, jaw tension, any of that kind of stuff. And it also helps with our Kriya, because our Kriya requires us to put gentle pressure, right? Intentional connection here at the temples, and then also to clench our jaw. So if you are somebody who suffers with things like TMJ or tension in the head, this Kriya may aggravate that tension. So I encourage you to accompany it with this mudra. The Mahasirs Mudra. Okay, so hold on. I got to move stuff because the cats are coming in the window. Okay. The Mahasirs Mudra. Oh, that's my kiddo. I don't wonder I have brain fog. I have a migraine every day of my life. Vada, did you get my pressure point for nausea? Hola, mijo. I'm teaching. I'm teaching, baby. Are you coming in for a shower? Oh, you're just coming in to check in? Okay. Okay. Te amo. Okay. So, this mudra is done like so. We curl our first two fingers in. Bring the first two fingers in to touch the thumbs. Okay? So the first two fingers, pointer and middle, come to connect to the thumb. And then curl that ring finger into the palm as best you can. If you need to use the other hand to help it get in there, that's okay too. Keeping the pointer and the middle connecting to the thumb, keeping the pinky upright. So I notice very immediately that my right hand has tension doing this mudra. So I am not going to try to overextend my hand and get this mudra. I don't want to create tension in my body, right? So this is a limitation of my body, and I'm going to respect the limitation. Look, this one's fine. This one's great. And this can sometimes be an indication of blockages or tension in this particular channel, in these particular channels. So on my right side, the solar side of my earth energy and water energy, oh my gosh, there's so much tension there. Okay, so this mudra can help to relieve that. But I encourage you, when you find these practices, please be gentle with yourself. There is no benefit to pushing yourself so far that you hurt yourself, right? The inner cosmos, our inner landscape, is a delicate, ethereal place. If we come in swinging and screaming, we are very likely to trigger our body, our system's own defenses. And if you've ever tried to fight the brain head on, it's really fucking hard. So instead of creating a battle, instead of creating tension, wherever we find tension, we meet it with compassion and rest there. No need to push past, all right? So, Mahasirs Mudra. Again, the Mahasirs Mudra. I'm going to show you with this hand because this is easier for me to reach out and show you. Those first two fingers, index and middle, come to touch the thumb. Remember that all these connections are just an intentional connection, not squeezing, not creating tension, right? An intentional connection. Hold it there, and then extend that pinky up. You've got your ring finger curled into the palm. Go ahead and rest that on your thighs. There is an additional piece to this mudra, and it's very simple. You just touch the tip of your tongue to the upper palate in your mouth. So while you hold this, make the intentional, not pressure, not tension connection, the intentional connection of the tongue. I was trying to do it while talking. That's not going to work. Touching the tip of your tongue to the upper palate, to the roof of your mouth. Okay. So again, this relieves tension, relieves tension in the head. This relieves sinus tension. This relieves ringing in the ears, tension in the jaw, tension in the neck, any of this upper area here. So this is going to add to our Kriya, since our Kriya actually creates intentional tension, brief intentional tension, yes. So let's sit, if you'd like to, for 5 minutes with our new mudra this week, the Mahasirs Mudra. Go ahead and rest it in your lap, and then find the mudra as best you can. Oh my goodness, as best you can. You cannot touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth while you are talking. It doesn't function that way. And they can't hear you psychically. Okay. If you'd like to sit for 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure you can hold this mudra every day, all day. Remember that it takes about 5 minutes for... There you go, Kelsey. Sinuses just drained. This is the mudra. This mudra literally is the mudra for relief, right? The Mahasirs Mudra. mudra for relief. It takes about 5 minutes for energy to circulate through our systems. So we want to hold our mudras for a minimum of 5 minutes. The beautiful thing about mudras is you don't have to do a whole lot more usually. So if you're sitting there watching Netflix, or even as we continue through this class, if you want to hold this mudra and release some sinus pressure and relieve some pressure in the head, back or front of the head, or in the ears or in the jaw, or any other time that you need to use this is pretty inconspicuous, and you don't even need both hands. Just remember the mudra coupled with the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. Vata, my right thumb, oh my God, it won't straighten. Okay, so that's exactly, you're finding tension in those channels. Meet that tension with compassion and just relax into the mudra. Sunshine. Nightmares? Yes. Let's sit for 5 minutes with this mudra. This is also a mudra for clarity of mind, right? Any mudra for clarity of mind can assist with nightmares. However, there are other things that we can offer. But right now, we're going to sit with the Mahasirs Mudra, and just for 5 minutes. Okay, it's 10:37 now. Let's go ahead and close our eyes, and like we did before, let's take 3 deep breaths to sink into our practice. Go ahead and close your eyes. You can do this laying down, seated upright, walking if you'd like to. It's not really great for driving, but go ahead and begin by inhaling through the nose, pulling the breath through the lungs and into the belly, and sigh it out. Inhale again, expanding the rib cage in all directions, front, sides, and back. And let that shit go. Inhale again to lift the heart and lift through the top of the head to elongate the spine. Exhale to gently tuck the chin and allow the shoulder blades to melt down the back, releasing any tension remaining in the body. Go ahead and seal the lips. Place the tongue on the upper palate and just follow the breath. Inhale all the way to the top. Exhale all the way to the bottom. This is going to be the entirety of our mudra practice for the day. Just 5 minutes, following the breath and bringing our attention back to the practice. Anytime your mind wanders off with this or that, I encourage you to gently bring it back to the breath, or to focusing on the mudra, or to even the connection between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. Choose your anchor and allow it to be the thing that you return to anytime you notice that your attention has wandered off. Nothing more, nothing less. Inhaling your attention here in the present moment. Exhaling any tension in your system. Let go of shame, guilt, blame, any of it. And just meet yourself right where you're at. Stay with it just one more minute. Staying with the breath. Holding the mudra with intention. And exhaling any tension. Go ahead and take a big deep breath in on the next inhale. Fill your lungs and hold at the top. Imagine the breath swirling around your head space, clearing out any remaining tension. And exhale through the mouth. Release the mudra. Bring your hands to prayer or simply lay one over the other over your heart in gratitude for this practice, in gratitude for this space, in gratitude for this mudra, in gratitude for this prana, this life force that's always flowing through the path of least resistance to bring you to your highest good in every single moment. Offer yourself some gratitude for taking the time for self-care today. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for joining me and cultivating this CAYA space where we can learn and grow and thrive together. When you're ready to come out of meditation, do so slowly. Offer yourself wiggles and stretches. Only opening your eyes when you're certain this is the brand of reality that you're intended to come back to. Hey, Bath Suds, thanks. I just realized that I've got sound on both my devices, and I apologize. That was not intentional. Okay, there we go. Kelsey. When will I be on again? Okay, so I have a regular schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday that I come on and we practice mudras and mantras and breath work. On Monday, we spend our first 5 minutes with a new mudra. On Wednesdays, we spend about 10 minutes and we add another practice, breath work, mantra, something like that, visualization. And then on Saturday, we do a full 15-minute or longer meditation. That's the big kahuna meditation where we sit with the mudra for a lot longer. Those are my favorite days because I'm a 45-minute meditator. I like to sit there forever. I like to get lost. And on Fridays, we do tiny yoga. And at the end of tiny yoga, we always incorporate our mudra somewhere into the practice. And tiny yoga is a 30-minute gentle flow for everybody in every space. I am live at 10 a.m. Pacific time. All those for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. However, we are on day 2 of a 40-day meat suit challenge. This time, it is the Kriya for addiction. Cappy, are you blocked? No, sir, I can see you. What's the matter? Of course not. Why would I block you, Cappy? I like you, Cappy. You're a lot of fun. Although, like I said, I will let everybody know that we are going to be a little quicker on the muting if people are being disruptive and divisive. That doesn't mean playful and silly and whatever, right? We are pirates in here too. We can allow some shenanigans to happen, but if people are intentionally being divisive or belittling, you will immediately be muted. Usually maybe there'll be a warning, they might not be. I really think at this point, after more than a year, right? Year and a half of going live consistently, we all know how to show up in this space. And if somebody doesn't know how to show up in this space, then they can be muted until they can show up in this space. Spirit wanders. I have my hammock out in the woods too. Can we have a hammock powwow? If I go swing in my hammock and you swing in your hammock, can we feel like we're snuggling in the hammock? Vada, I want to echo what Leb said. Give yourself some grace, my love. Yes, Aaron. Aaron, the name of the mudra is the Mahasirs Mudra. I've seen it spelt two different ways. The most common one is actually Mahasirs. My Sanskrit is not perfect. I am still studying and learning. And actually, I just had a dream last night that I ran into somebody. Whoa! I had a dream last night that I was learning Sanskrit from somebody in India or from India, or maybe I was in India. Cool. Cool. Maybe I'll finally get my Sanskrit teacher. Okay. Got me get distracted. Did you say anything about nightmares? No, I didn't yet. But I'm right here. All right. Good for hammock snugs. Good. We will, and let me get to nightmares. Be real quick. Last time, the Mahasirs Mudra is done like so. Palms up. Bring your pointer and middle fingers to touch your thumb. Curl in your ring finger as best you can to the palm and extend the pinkies. We were just talking at the beginning of this, and I want to repeat it again. If there is tension in this mudra, meet the mudra at the edge of that tension. Don't try to get too deep in there. Don't create tension so that you can't hold this mudra. Find a way that you can hold it comfortably, even if it's all curled up like this. If this is all that you've got for the mudra and you can't extend your pinkies out further, then what it's showing you is that there's blockages, right? What it's showing you is that that energy is not free to move yet. Remember what this finger here, this is the water finger. This is the element of water in the body. When I open these channels like this, I am letting the water element in the body flush this stuff out of my system. If I can't do this, it may mean things like dehydration. It may just mean blocked channels or blocked energy of that water, low kapha energy in the system. You're very welcome, Erin. You were hesitant to join, but the mudra that I taught today literally relieves all your current struggles. I could actually feel the tension release from the back of my neck and jaw. This is why I love mudras. They are effective. They are easy to do usually. We can hold them passively while we're doing something else. And they work by redirecting the energy channels in the body. The energy of our body, our energy body, traverses all different layers of self. So I can adjust my physiology. I can adjust my headspace, my mental clarity. I can adjust my digestion, my mood, my heart rate, my breathing with mudras. RJ Muscle, your face is very asymmetrical. How can you release the tension? Is it tension that is creating an asymmetrical thing, or is it just that your face is asymmetrical? Because our faces are not perfectly symmetrical. But I would suggest this one, because this mudra is to relieve. So this is the mudra for relief. And what does it do? It relieves headaches, earaches, tendinitis. It can relieve sinus pressure, drain the sinuses, and any frontal lobe, face pressure and tension, back of the head tension, ear and jaw and neck tension, but pretty much everything from here up. Any kind of tension, this will help release. And because of that, it offers clarity of mind. Because if you know, when you have tension in your fucking head or in your jaw, it's really hard to be clear in your head. Okay? Right? Mahasirs Mudra. And it just rests here in the lap. Remember, there is one other piece to this mudra, and it is to touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, right? So while you hold this mudra, the tongue gently touches the roof of the mouth. I'm glad you're here, Erin. Let's talk about nightmares. Spirit wanders with mudras. Can you hold your hands down resting, or are they supposed to be upright? The mudras in general are very flexible in that way. You can hold it here if you want to hold it like that, like down like that. You can do that too. Again, this can be really inconspicuous. If you're out somewhere, if you're having a conversation, if you're at dinner with your family, right, and suddenly your head's like, under the table, you can go like this and just hold it in your lap. And it doesn't have to be an exact position. It doesn't have to be like up here for everybody to see. You can tuck it under the table and just breathe through. And know that this is doing the work. I'm actually going to hold it here and see if it'll keep me from clenching my jaw. I have a tendency to clench my jaw. So we're going to experiment with the mudra here. Okay, so Nella, I believe it was, right? You asked about nightmares. I personally have experienced night terrors much of my life, and sometimes still experience them. I think there's a lot of different explanations for why we have nightmares. But for me, I understand them as energy trying to be expressed. Everything that our body does is either to protect us or to release something that is heavy to the system, that it isn't meant to be in the system, which is also a manner of protection, right? Which is also a degree of protection for us. My head is working on so many different angles to take it from, because I'm not sure of your personal experience. And maybe what I need is, if you're willing to come join us in the Discord and share a little bit more about your personal story and what's going on, so that I can offer tools that can help you with it. Jessica, you have sleep terrors in the mornings after some trauma and wake up screaming. Yeah. So especially in that state, okay, let's talk about consciousness. How about that? Let's talk about the conscious surface tension. So the conscious mind, imagine your consciousness and the layers of consciousness as water, okay? There's surface tension. Consciousness creates surface tension. When I am awake and I am in the beta gamma, I believe it is, beta gamma brainwaves. These are the ones where I'm thinking, I'm doing, I'm talking, I'm engaged in activities, I'm focused, I'm concentrating or not, and doing all these things. These are the beta gamma brainwaves. I have my post-it note somewhere. Those brainwaves are much quicker waves, right? And that creates a kind of surface tension. We can imagine our thoughts and our consciousness and the ongoings of the brain as if they're waves or ripples being created in our consciousness water, right? All of that surface tension, all that shit going on top of the water, means that it's difficult. The stuff stays tucked underneath. The subconscious stuff, the unconscious stuff, stays tucked underneath because of all that surface tension. Now, obviously, if something is really trying to get out, it can still escape in our conscious day, right? I'm over there doing dishes, and as soon as my brain starts to relax, what happens? That memory of trauma comes back, and it's with a full fucking force, like a freight train, and starts screaming in my head about that last time that I was doing dishes and the person did the thing and that was awful and that was terrible, right? So what I can recognize that as, what I used to think of that as, is my body is attacking me. My brain is attacking me. My brain won't leave me alone. This is, my brain can't let it go, right? But what my brain is doing is saying there is tension because of this thing. There is tension somewhere in the system, and it's begging, demanding to be released. How do we protect our systems? By clarifying and aligning our systems. That's the best way to protect them. Yes, we can use protective measures, but those are crutches that we use until we can align our system and lift ourselves out of needing those defenses. So releasing things is another form of protection. And your body, your whole system, is a finite system, right? Yes, I've got my infinite spark, my spark of infinity, my spark of divinity that lives within me, but the rest of it is finite. And so it's not meant to store emotions in the way that we shove them down. It's not meant to store trauma and certain memories and things like that in the way that we hold them in our body. Why do we hold them in our body? Because we hold them in our energy body. And as I said, the energy body traverses through all these layers of self. Imbalances in my energy body will eventually become manifestations in my physiological body, and may even become chronic manifestations in my physiological body, because that imbalance exists and perpetuates within my system. So what happens when you take something that's perishable and put it in your cabinet and leave it in the back of the cabinet, okay? Use the perishable thing like an emotion. There was a traumatic event, and I had these big emotions about it, but I wasn't able to let go of them all. I wasn't able to process. I wasn't able to finish off gassing, so to speak, all of this experience. And instead, like my system may do habitually, I keep pressing this down. So I keep pushing that perishable item to the back of my cabinet, to the back, and again, and again, and again, and again. What's going to happen? It's going to rot. Right? What happens when something rots is it creates gas, it creates a smell, it creates discomfort, so to speak, within the system. Your emotions are finite. Thoughts are finite. Experiences are finite. They are really, truly intended to rise and fall just like our breath. Experience and everything within it is intended to rise and fall as a finite event within our systems. But too often we take them and they become stuck, stored in our system. When that happens, these things create pressure, that pressure of, like I call emotional gas or brain farts kind of deal, like in a different way. The kind of gas that's built up by storing these things. So what I have found in my experience is that nightmares, obsessive thoughts, habitual thought patterns, or things that come up again and again, they are asking to be released. They are asking to be released. And when we see them as asking to be released, then we don't feel like we're being victimized as much by them, right? We can recognize that they need to off gas. It's just a process of the body. It's like when you eat something that makes gas in your belly, you're going to fart. When you eat something that makes gas in your belly, you may belch. And we allow this to happen because we recognize the body has to let it go, because if we store it in there, it creates more tension, more pressure, pain, and eventually suffering. If you held every fart in your life, I guarantee you would be suffering. So, your emotions are the same. Sunshine, would you say there? So it all comes back to inner work we need to do as individuals. Honestly, I believe that everything comes back to inner work that we need to do as individuals. Why? Because if you look at our experience, everything is subjective. And that's got to be, right? There's like there's a purpose and a reason for that here. Is that if everything is subjective, then all of my experience actually happens inside of me, and therefore I am actually the one responsible for everything that's occurring. That's a path to walk, right? That's not something that we go, oh, okay, I'm just responsible for everything, and then we flip the next day and just become aware and responsible for everything. It's layers. Ogres are like onions, you know? You got to go through all the layers of the self and get deeper and deeper and deeper so we can do this inner work. Two spheres. I'm a burper. Can't let us stay stagnant. No, can't let that happen. Because when we do, the body tries to let it go. This is why when you sit in meditation, or as you're falling asleep, or as you're waking up, when you're in the alpha, theta brainwaves, theta brainwaves is our REM sleep, right? If you're dreaming, then you're in your theta brainwaves. Alpha can get to like a meditative state, nice, soothing, meditative, focused state, inflow state. These are the places where the conscious mind, the waves of the conscious mind are much quieter. And so the things that are underneath can come up, rear their ugly heads, right? The beasts underneath our ocean. Aaron, you joined the Discord. Yay! Stay humble. Just interested. No judgment. What's my specialty? What's my specialty? Stay humble? Oh, I don't know. Being a shenanigan shaman, I guess. Hello. For those of you who are new here, my name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and dubbed your shenanigan shaman. In this space, we practice tools. We cultivate mindfulness. We practice the tools to cultivate mindfulness. so that we can become aware of these inner layers of self. In a world that teaches us to look outside for all of our answers, many of us have neglected the expansive cosmos that exists within. And I don't come, as an interfaith minister, I don't come from one side of dogma. I come from a lot of different angles. I spent 20 plus years in the field, working in the field of human development and wellness across the lifespan, and I spent more than 12 years in college or in university and workshops and such, getting certifications and studying everything from prenatal to postmortem, because I wanted to know what we do, why we do it, how we work, what makes us who we are, why we develop these ways, and how to move through them. And honestly, I did it for myself because I wanted to be a better human. And I knew that the tools that I was given as a child were not the ones that were going to get me to the place that I truly wanted to be. I was led, and someone asked here a little bit ago, I was led initially by my spiritual practice and by an energy work practice. I was raised Catholic and thought I wanted to be a nun. Have always felt very, very strongly about my relationship with Christ consciousness, and with higher power. And spent a lot of years exploring that, right? I've been a reverend now for, I think it's my 10th year. I think this is my 10th year. Yeah. And I grew up with my family's lineage of energy work. So everything that I do is influenced by my personal connection with Source and my familiarity with energy. And that actually, that heavily influenced the way that I looked at my 12 plus years of university and higher education. Because I was looking at these things, right? Psychology has this box. Gerontology has this box. Child development has this box. But I understand energy. And I know that energy runs through all of these things. No matter how many times we try to box ourselves up and separate our pieces, we actually have a wholeness to us that other traditions are very familiar with. The Eastern medicine, the Vedic traditions, like these things have actually been studied and continue to be studied up to this day, right? Back as far back as like, I think it's 1200 or 1500 BCE, they have records of the Vedic sciences and study of energy work and Source and our interconnectedness between, the self and reality. So in everything I do, I am looking for the pieces that weave everything together. The overarching connections, the strings that connect all the pieces. Yes, thank you, Leb. Yeah, anybody joining the Discord server, it is free to join the Discord server. The link is on my Linktree or on Patreon. Patreon.com/move a change, Linktree /move a change. And make sure that when you go in there, you've got to hit your emoji to confirm your humanity rather than being a bot, right? Stay humble. What gifts do I offer to help others? We use a variety of mindfulness tools. We, in this class particularly, I teach mudras, and we've been working with mudras for more than a year now, and we'll probably continue to work with mudras because they're effective, they're easy to use, and we add other tools like mantras. I'm also an herbalist and a nutritionist, but I don't talk about nutrition online very much because it's a sensitive topic, and it's a topic that can sometimes be misconstrued, and one that I try to be very responsible about. So if you'd like to talk about nutrition, I encourage you to come into the Discord because we can do that there in a safer space. Yeah. Buenos amigos. I think I missed a couple of questions here, guys. Sorry. Brent, letting go is something you spoke about just this morning. I love those echoes, huh? Sunshine, you say you never really got any closure. Sudden grief is really difficult. Thanks, Monica. I am a death midwife. So I lead and teach home funerals. I actually, if I get my shit together, if you guys encourage me enough, I will put together a home funeral workshop. It's probably just going to be a nice little simple thing we can do on Halloween, where I talk about how to do a home funeral. I think the part I'm going to go is the ceremonial part and teach you guys how to prepare, dress, anoint the individual and how to preserve them at home. We can talk about the legal aspect of having your loved one at home after they pass in the state that you're in. And then also about home burial and home funeral things, home burial aspects as well. Kelsey, you've worked in a hospice and would love to learn about home funerals. It's a really amazing topic. I love working with it too, because it's something that a lot of people aren't familiar with. Like in most states in this country, you have the right to keep your loved one at home, and you also have the right to bury them on your own, either on your own property or deliver them to wherever and whatnot. There's a lot more rights that you have, but the industry itself sells you this idea that this is what everybody does, right? The person just gets scooped away, put in the metal box, right? You get to see them maybe once or twice, and then they're put in the ground. And the thing that I have heard from clients and working with home funerals again and again and again is that people who have lost others before and then did a home funeral for someone else, the experience was so much different. Being able to have the person at home for a while and watch the passing and be able to spend time with them actually brings it, because this is what we naturally have always done. Only more recently, since the advent of this whole capitalist home funeral, folks, not home funeral, but funeral business, right? The funeral business wants you to pay for all of that, wants you to pay them for all those services, when actually you have those rights. And so they're not going to tell you have those rights. Leash, yeah, it is about profits over people. And unfortunately, if you are in the state of New York, I know that New York is one of the few states that you do not have the right to do it at home at all. And it's actually, from what I understand, it's considered unconstitutional, because what it does is it requires you by law to pay for an elective service. You, by law, should not be required to pay for an elective service, right? But the Home Funeral Board in New York the Home Funeral Board is made up of God damn it, I keep calling it home funeral because I do home funerals. The funeral board is made up of funeral directors. So, of course, they adjust the laws. Is Minnesota one of those states? I don't know. I don't have my book with me right now. My dog, you poor unfortunate soul, was sad. Oh, it's so sad, but true. What's the matter? What's the matter, my boy? What you need? Thank you. Stay humble. Have a great day. Leash Ray, you'd love a home funeral class? Okay. Can we do it the plan is to do it on Halloween. So again, pester me, and I will put it together. Remember, we are in the middle of a 40-day Kriya, but that will be done by October 10th. So it will give me time to put together the home funeral. But what I need is for you guys to, I need for you guys to remind me. I need for you guys to pester me. I do better with a little bit of pressure. Otherwise, I'll be like, I don't know if they really want it or not. I don't know if I really should spend my time doing it or not. I want to do it on Halloween. I want to make it beautiful and, informative. He needs scritches so bad. I don't know what his deal is today. He needs extra scritches. Do you see how ridiculous it is, though, with, like, the flop? Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. What is he doing? What is he flopping, huh? Is he dogging? What's the matter, my boo? What's the matter? What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter? My boy coming in. Okay. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, go do the thing, and I don't negotiate in the middle of lives. Sir dog, sir dog, sir dog, sir dog. Hey, can you bring him his breakfast? Did he eat his breakfast? Can you bring him his bowl, please? If there's food in there. Is that your deal? Did you not eat your breakfast? Huh?
I still need some breakfast.
His name is Ajna. His name is Ajna, and he's a blue heeler. And he's a Velcro dog. And he's also a jelly dog. A very jelly dog. Ah, thank you, Derek. So, it all does. It all goes back to inner work. Why? Because ultimately I am stuck in this subjective experience. Ultimately, I am stuck in the illusion of being separate from everything else. And so, by my nature, the most prominent, prevalent part of my experience is internal. We live in a society and a culture that has given us this perspective, right? That everything given us this perspective that everything exists outside of us. Everything outside of us is more real than what happens inside of us. And unfortunately, the opposite is true. Again, great misdirection, right? What's one way that, that's one way. If the whole truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth existed right here in your heart, and this was it. But then you were raised to believe that there was nothing in here. That the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth was way out there somewhere. And you've got to spend your whole life searching for it. You probably won't find it. Best way to find it is just to believe what somebody else says is truth and follow that, right? Because if we search for our inner truth, then it's just in our heads. It's just woo-woo, right? Namaste. Hey, Byron. We only experience zero. It is a dress. It is a dress. Thank you. Hey, Zark. How are you? Hi, dog. Sir, can you lay down? Go eat your food. Go have your breakfast. Go eat your food. Go eat your breakfast.
He didn't try to eat it.
He's also a very picky eater. Anybody else have a healer? And are they picky eaters too? Because mine's a really picky eater. If he decides that he doesn't want that for breakfast, that's probably what he's doing right now. He's like, I wanted you to make me something else.
Like with some eggs.
Oh, Monica, thank you, friend.
You might want some eggs in there.
Mel, yes, you're usually working when you go live. When I go live, is there a way you can watch later? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I am Move with Change on all the platforms, but the most important places to follow me are on YouTube, because that's where all the replays are. Full-length replays there, and I usually schedule, if there's things to schedule, I schedule them on YouTube because it's the easiest place to schedule them. The other best place to follow me is here on TikTok, because on TikTok is where all of my content goes. Why? Because only TikTok allows you to, for free, download everything, right? And I made sure that every bit of my content is downloadable, because this is information sharing. I am not trying to nickel and dime people. I'm not trying to do some money mindset shit or nothing like that. The most important truth about me is that I love to share information. I love to share the tools, especially the tools that have brought me out of my own density, out of my own ignorance, and into the light of my own experience. It's a powerful process. It's been a spectacular journey, but I'm sharing here the tools that have actually helped. Sir, you have a place to be and things to do, and this is not it. Thank you. So, yes, follow me on YouTube. There are replays there and scheduled things like that and playlists and whatnot. I also do share a little bit of other stuff there too. TikTok allows you to get all of my content, and it's usually where I come on live most often. I am always live on TikTok and YouTube, as long as YouTube works. Sometimes it doesn't. And then I go live on several other channels. Right now, I'm also on Kick and Twitch and Instagram. If you want to see me on another platform, go follow me there. I try to go live on the places that I have the most followers, and I'm also kind of dabbling in other platforms to see what works. But now that we're over 10,000 followers, if you guys share and interact with the content can pay for itself. That's fucking awesome. So share, engage, ask questions. If you have questions, this is another thing about following me on TikTok. If you have any questions about any of the content, about anything I say or anything I share in any of the lives or the videos, you can ask questions on the videos and I will make you video responses. I do my best to get to every single question that goes into my comments. I'm not as good at getting them in my messages because what I want to do is make more content with them, right? If you are a member, I do have membership levels. One, membership levels that you can just support and donate the work that I'm doing. Other membership levels offer you things like group coaching, private coaching. I do have a coaching intensive. Mijo! Let go. Thank you. Now, please. No, babe, I need you to go do your things. We can see you through the curtain. See him pacing behind me. Monica, I've dropped work meetings to listen a couple times. My soul needs this so much more than the 9 to 5. You know what? So does mine. And that's why I'm here. I tried for the last year, well, actually last year, not this year, last year and the year before and many years before that, I have tried to do the, market for a thing, create a workshop, give you only a little bit of information and a free thing here to market you in and lure you in to paying services and stuff like that. And it all felt manipulative. Why? Because modern marketing and a lot of things we use for modern marketing is in fact actual manipulation, is intended to get past the frontal cortex. And in fact, when I'm on YouTube, I keep seeing this video of how to manipulate your audience, right? Psychological aspect of marketing. And the reality is, we're evolving past that. I don't know about you, but when I see another manipulative fucking marketing campaign, whether it be on here or on there or anywhere else or out there, I roll my eyes and go, God, will you fucking stop? I am tired of being puppeted by a culture that does not have my interests, my best interests at heart. And so, do I go out there screaming and raging about it? No, sometimes. Do I think there's a place for screaming and raging about it? Yes, absolutely. But I have found that the most effective way for me to walk myself out of ignorance, the ignorance that allows me to be manipulated, is by becoming aware of the truth that exists within me, my inner landscape, my inner guides, my higher self, hearing what my subconscious, unconscious, superconscious self has to say. Because ultimately, the reality is, no matter what my culture tells me, I personally experience that everything exists within me. And so if I consider it honestly, I see it as a misnomer, don't you? If I know that everything I experience is inside of me, then why am I wasting so much time toiling out there before I do this work? Monica, you would love to join the community? So this is our community here. If you'd like to join us on the Discord, right? We call this our, this is like the public CAYA community. We're out in a park here, sharing mudras and meditating in the park, right? Anybody and everybody can come by. The Discord is our CAYA courtyard. That allows us to be more intentional, share resources, chat about things, knowing that we are all there for a similar reason, right? And then the memberships offer you layers into the temple, whether it be group coaching, private coaching, and different layers of that private coaching. But the goal here, the point here, again, is not for me to market for clients. It's for me to share information. That's why I'm live, and that's why I don't spend a bunch of time talking about it. So If you have questions about it, you can always message me and or Leb. Where are you? There you go. Go ahead and follow Leb. He's one of my moderators, both here and in the Discord. Zark, thanks. Yeah, I dabble in Discord, but I'm just an initiate on the path. It's a space for everybody. It's not a space where we, in fact, when naming the levels of membership, I intentionally try to name them without hierarchy, because it's not about, oh, I'm more advanced on my path, or oh, I'm just starting on my path, or I'm somewhere, or I'm lost. It doesn't, or I've never been. It doesn't matter where you are. Because the truth, the reality is that where you are is where you need to be right now. There is no starting point. There is no finishing point. There is the experience. And whatever you decide is your starting point and your finishing point. Honestly, I don't know if there is a finishing point. If we understand the nature of reality, it is an ever-expanding, ever-evolving thing. So seeking a finishing point, seeking a goal is almost to seek stagnation. And then, yes, we are building physical community. Again, we are in talks right now with a 100-acre piece of property here in Oregon, which would be really fucking amazing. So if anybody is actually interested, come join the Discord, because I was just talking about it yesterday or the day before with you, Leb, right? I'm going to put documents that I have written up about community parameters and guidelines and things like that, and I would love to share them with everybody and discuss them with everybody so that we can put our heads together to understand and collaborate on how to actually build community, what it means to build community, what it takes to build community, and what it takes to sustain community. This is something that I think all of us need to be engaging in, whether or not we plan to move into a hippie commune and live barefoot for the rest of our lives, right? We still need to learn the skills, relearn the skills of building community, of cultivating quality interpersonal relationships, of taking responsibility for our actions and our words in a way that makes us responsible enough to cultivate quality relationships with other people and build sustainable community. Refining and reconstructing my subtle energy bodies is my main goal right now, says Zark. Nice. Is there a starting point, Derek? I don't know. I don't think there is. I don't know. Maybe there is, except for the spark of the universe. If there was ever a starting point, maybe that was it. But I also see that as the coming out the other end of a black hole. So, Zark, again, join the Discord if you like. Everything I do is based on energy, on the understanding of energy. And I believe that the most powerful thing that we can do is adjust and align our energy bodies, because when we do that, we align ourselves with the truth of our system, and then the tension starts to fall away naturally, right? I can go fight for manifestation. I can go push and pull and demand from the universe all sorts of things. And that is a type of force. What's going to happen? Everything in opposite reaction, right? The universe responds to me. What I give and what is what I get. So if I engage with force, I engage in force with the universe or with my brain or with my body, there is going to be tension created. Force creates tension. There is a time and a place for tension. If I'm going to the gym and trying to build up my guns, then I need that force and tension. I need that. But we are so used to, on a material level, on an external level, all of that fight and push and pull and force and tension and pulling energy from each other and weaponizing our energy to each other. In this space, this is why in this space we practice meeting ourselves with curiosity and willingness, not creating tension. This is why when we meet tension within our bodies, we pause, because again, that tension, my defenders, my boundaries within my body, these are intended to protect me. And if these pieces within me are delicate and vulnerable, but I have a habit of going into my inner system and just bitching at them and demanding and using force, do you really think my defenders are going to put their arms down? The defenders that are protecting the vulnerable parts of my mind and my heart and my spirit? No. They will maintain that layer of protection, and you'll say, I don't know why I can't hear my guides. Your guides, your inner wiser, right? These inner selves, these delicate, vulnerable parts of self, rarely are going to be screaming at you. Your inner captain does not come fight you. Your inner captain's not going to chase you down. Just like a monk is not going to come find you wherever you are to do the work. Who has to journey and arrive with humility to that guru? You. The same experience occurs within. Personally, when I found my captain was sitting there. I am a very visual person. I do a lot of dream journey work, astral projection work kind of stuff, like visualization meditations. So in one of these meditations, this is when I found my captain. And my setting, my landscape here oftentimes is a pirate ship, is the ocean and spaces like that. So I found my captain actually in the captain's, what's it called? Quarters in my ship, which I didn't even know existed because I was still working on exploring those pieces, exploring my different pirate characters. When I found that captain was sitting at a window with a glass in his hand and a big red leather chair, and I think he even was smoking something. Like basically the whole setting was just like, I'm just chill and waiting, and I've been here waiting. Of course, my energy when I entered that space, I was angry. I was angry that I felt like my captain had abandoned me. I felt like my captain had made me like submit or surrender or whatever it was, right? I was angry about having to find my captain on my own. But in sitting with my captain, I realized that the wisest of us is not going to seek us out to give us the wisdom. And if we show up saying, I know everything already, then there is no wisdom to receive. Before you surrender to a guru outside of you, a deity, an idea, a concept, a feeling outside of you, I encourage you to practice surrendering to the wisdom within you, to the captain within you. The captain is different than your ego. The ego will yell. The ego will push and pull and fight. The ego will bitch and complain. The ego is still an important part of your crew. We need every piece of our system, because every piece of our system has always intended on keeping us safe. My ego characters that have manifested because of my early experiences of my inner programming have manifested to keep me safe and keep me alive in this world, to help me function and to keep me safe. How cool to realize that I have all of these allies in my system. But what does my culture say? Oh, those obsessive thoughts are out to get you. Your body is attacking you, right? There's no wisdom in your body. There's no knowing in your subconscious. No. You're just a blank slate, an ignorant meat bag. And the only way you can know anything is if you search outside of yourself. And then be able to repeat it back to somebody, right? Just long enough to get the certification, and then who cares? That's information. Information is information until we distill it down into understanding. And we can only distill it into understanding when we drip it into the inner self. It's, again, the greatest misdirection is to put up a wall here and to say, everything I experience is beyond the wall this way. But there is so much more that we can access through here. Why? Because this sense, this one, this one are all finite and limited, like my body. Like the processes of my body, right? My eyes can only see a spectrum of color. My ears can only hear a spectrum of sound. I can only experience a spectrum of sensation because of my nerve endings. But hey, if you and I are holding hands, I am only feeling your hand because it is in my hand. As soon as your hand leaves my hand, I do not feel your hand. Why? because my only experience of your hand is inside of me. And when I am looking out into the world, the colors that I see, these are only the colors that my eyes can perceive. And those colors are only seen because they are reflecting in my mind, in my eyes. Sounds are only heard because they reverberate through my eardrum and the little hairs in my ear, through the cochlear, right? All of these things happen within. Again, the great misdirection, right? And if I keep facing this way, I will forever be limited by the scope of my perception. Therefore, I will remain in ignorance, because all I will know is what I can see, touch, hear, taste, feel. But we know, our sciences have already know and can tell us there's a whole lot more to the universe than what my eyes can see, my ears can hear, and my hands can touch. How do we access those things? In our inner landscape. Not only can we perceive the things outside through our inner landscape, we can receive much, much, much more. So, what's our mudra for the week again? The Mahasirs Mudra. Mahasirs Mudra. And this is the mudra to relieve headaches, earaches, jaw aches, sinus aches, any tension in the front, top, sides, ears, jaw, back of the head. All of these things help to clarify the mind. Mahasirs, yes. Okay, so I've seen it spelt two ways, but the most common way is M-A-H-A-S-I-R-S. M-A-H-A, Mahasirs. S-I-R-S. Mahasirs. And it means great head. Great head. There's not just, so the mudra is like so, goes like so. Remember, there's two parts to this mudra. Sirs. I encourage you to go look up the pronunciation. My pronunciation is not the best. If you want to learn the Sanskrit and if you want to learn the proper pronunciation, I am not the person to go through because I am still learning the proper pronunciation. So go ahead and find yourself a source for it. If you're still learning too, Ben, I was just saying earlier, I actually had a dream last night that I was learning Sanskrit from somebody who was a native speaker. And that's really exciting, so I'm hoping. Hey, Jay Tamara, how are you? Ben, that difficult hand pose you walked us through multiple times. Yes, that one. We're going to do it again. Okay. So bring your pointer and your middle finger to touch the thumb, right? Make your little, almost like a shadow dog, right? And then curl the ring finger in as best you can to touch the palms and extend the pinky. So this mudra can rest on the thighs. This mudra is actually one of those ones that's best laying down, especially because you're working to relieve tension. So, but it can be done anywhere, anytime, any day, anytime, day or night. Remember that the only other thing we add to this mudra is that we touch the tip of the tongue to the palate, to the upper palate, the roof of the mouth. And as you sit with your mudra, again, you can do something else. You can just hold your mudra and do something else. You can also sit with a little meditation. And again, my favorite way to sit with the mudras is to just listen to my breath and just pay attention to the mudra. Then, when you lengthen your pinky, your index randomly shoots up. So the other thing I love about mudras is they can also be diagnostic. When we find that we can't get into a mudra, usually that means some sort of blockages. Left ring finger is lunar earth. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the elements in the fingers really quick so we can review this. Thumb. Jen, or Jenny Boo. That's cute. I like it. I like it. Hey, Jenny Boo, welcome. You think you were meant to find you this morning. Chronic headaches, sinus issues, and teeth clenching. Yes. This is good for, again, this is good. So this is the mudra for relief. It relieves headache. It relieves any tension in the head, in the eyes, in the sinuses, in the ears, in the jaw. Yeah. And so by relieving all that tension, affords us clarity of mind, affords us peace in our mind. Okay, so let's review the elements really quickly, and then we will look at what this energy, what this mudra is doing with the elements, yeah? Thumb is fire. Yes, you got it, Ben. Thumb is fire. What is the practice called? This is just a mudra. It's not any particular practice, just a mudra. We are doing another practice, but let's talk about the elements real quick. Fire, thumbs, index, air. I always got to remember, I can't do the single fingers because we will always get to that single finger. Okay. Fire, air, ether or spirit. Ring finger is earth. Pinky finger is water. Right side is the solar energy, the rising energy, the energizing energy of these elements. And the left side is the lunar, the receptive, the cooling, the resting energy of these elements. So as you hold mudras, unless the mudra is only a one-handed mudra, I encourage you to hold both hands because you are very likely to see differences. So saying this, I want to again make a note for myself and say it out loud. I would like to create some kind of mudra journal, some kind of chakra energy journal so that you guys, I'd like to put them together so that you guys can use this journal to keep track of the mudras and keep track of what they do for your system, keep track of what they're for and all the pieces for them so that through these classes, you guys can actually create your own notebook of mudras that is your resource. So what I need to do is create a video asking you guys, mudra manual, yes, the mudra manual. I'm gonna make a video asking you guys what you want from something like that because, again, my authority is to respond, right? So it's best for me when you guys can ask me questions or tell you what you need so that I can then deliver. Otherwise, I get lost in like trying to figure out what you need and what you want. Kelsey, journal and video game. Honey, when I find, sorry, I didn't mean to call you honey. Sometimes that's can be taken as condescending and I don't want to do that. Friend, Kelsey, we are working on building a mindfulness RPG game. Again, I'm going to scream it out to the universe. Whoever can and knows how to create an RPG game and would like to be involved in building this game, I encourage you to come in. Not only am I trading services for your time, but I would like to, when the game actually launches, I would like to make sure that everybody who is involved in making the game somehow gets a perpetual revenue from making the game. Again, I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but that is the intention. I would like to make a community project of building an RPG game that's in an app so we can put all these mindfulness tools in the app, these classes, these live events in the app, and still have the community in the app that you can explore in a kind of game sort of setting, because I know a lot of people use that game setting and it does help us move through the things. But I want this game to reward you and encourage you to do real life stuff. So imagine going on your adventure journey game, right? Or whatever they're called. I don't even know. See, I'm not really a gamer, which is I really need you guys' help to make this. I know that it's going to be effective. I know that it's going to be fucking amazing. And I know that it's going to give people the things that they need. I want a library in there too. I'd love to talk to you more about it. If you know how to build this kind of app or you know people who do, please come into the Discord and please come talk to me about it because I feel the pressure to make this game. Jenny Boo, can I repeat? Sorry. Can I repeat the elemental fingers? Yes. So, fire, thumb, index, air, middle, spirit or ether, ring, earth, pinky, water. Thank you, Monica. I'll go ahead and pin that. Melly, sorry. You meditate through VR sometimes. What? See, and part of me, again, I know that we're gonna be like, I know that more of it's gonna be happening, more VR, more stuff like that. I really want to create this kind of platform in a VR space, so that when I teach a yoga class, we can actually be in the same room together. When I teach mudras, we can be in the same room together and I can see your hands, right? I can teach so much better if I can see your hands and say, hey, let's try that, or adjust this way, or I can see your posture when you're doing something in chair yoga, right? I can be much more an effective teacher on these platforms if we were to have that VR room. And yeah, so I am all about it. I am all about engaging with the technology that we have and that is growing and building so that we can use it in a way that's actually supportive of our longevity, of our authenticity, of our well-being. There's not a lot out there in this culture, out in the world, that's truly centered on your well-being, that's also not going to nickel and dime you for every fucking little 5-minute thing you do. I would really like this game to be something that is not, I don't charge for. Because I don't want the dollar to be king in here, right? Or in there. And I don't want somebody who can't afford to pay for the app not be able to use the app. I've seen several apps like that. There's one called Modern Sam. It's an ADHD management tool, which looks fucking amazing, and I'd love to explore it just to see what they're doing, but it costs a monthly subscription. So I don't know how to do it yet, but I need the team to do it with me. And I'd like it to have an emergency piece too. Like you can go into the game, you can do it as a research thing and you're studying stuff, you can go and do a practice thing, you can go and do community things, but I also want it to have an emergency button, an SOS button, so if you are having an anxiety attack, if you're having nightmares, if you're having an acute situation, that you can press that emergency button and you can get support right away. I do want to have a kind of hotline in there so that people can actually call and have real conversations, but I also want to have that emergency practices. Awesome, Kelsey. So if you know anybody who builds apps, if you know anybody who's interested in doing something like that, I do also feel like I need people who want to do this with real intention, right? People who feel like this is a heart-centered project, because it's not just let's make an app and charge people for it. This is let's create a space where we can come together and support each other in thriving. Trades, Myths, and Tunes, Discord. The link for Discord is on my Patreon page or on the Linktree. I am Move with Change on both Linktree and Patreon. Jay, tomorrow, hold on, what did you say here? How do you do that? When you lower one finger, all the others lower too. So I want to encourage folks who are struggling a little bit with this mudra to remember that, sorry, my light is changing in here, so I gotta move. Remember that you want to honor where you are in the moment. So if you can't get the perfect mudra, that's okay. Let's not guilt or shame ourselves. Let's just get as close as we can to the mudra and then trust that the mudra will do its work. The more we practice, the more it will resonate within you. Exercises can help too. Stretching your fingers, don't pop them like I do. That's not a good example. But doing this, stretching them all out nice and wide, clenching them back in, out and in. The other way is pressing your palms forward like this, fingers expanded, and then dropping them down, palms in. This is best done like this, further out in front of you. This is going to help create more flexibility, dexterity in the hands. And also clarifying our energy channels, right? Because a lot of times when things are sticky like that, it actually is telling us that there's blockages in there. Trying to work on your nervous system. Oh, me too. So many of us, right? Still working with the nervous system. Your nervous system is your information highway. And when our nervous system is tense, that means that the messages do not get across clearly. That means sometimes they can't get communicated. Or that the messages are manipulated by the energy of our nervous system itself, right? So if I'm prone to anxiety triggers, then my nervous system is going to be prone to being in that state of being. So again, that's why we're doing this Kriya, because things like being in fight or flight or a frazzled nervous system kind of stuff, this is an energy habit that our systems repeat or fall into. And as somebody who spent many, many years in fight or flight, I can tell you that cultivating these practices has helped me reduce the symptoms of fight or flight, has helped me soothe my nervous system, that now I am actually able to start addressing some of the underlying things that happened because my nervous system was too tense. Jay, tomorrow. Hold on. Did you say something? Oh, okay. So, I didn't even write the note down. I need to make a video asking you guys what you want out of a... Oh, it's because my pencil died. That's because my pencil died. I tried to do that already. What time is it? It's noon. It's almost noon. Here, Pacific time. Okay. So, my friends... Oh, wait. Trey Smith. Trey says, you are not on my list. I guess the CIA, NSA censors are actually threatened by your wonderful sharing of mudras. I always like to see a lovely woman head. Thank you. So, we do live in a culture, we do live in a world, in the US here at least, and in a lot of other places, that does not want you to reach your self-actualization. Does not want you to enlighten your being. Because when you enlighten your being, then you become aware of the manipulations that are happening. You become aware of the things that are pulling you off balance. And our current incarnation of capitalism literally runs on things that pull you off balance. And so we live in a world that relies on your willful ignorance. So mudras, mantras, even just mindfulness, right? Take the yoga out of it and just becoming aware. You don't have to practice any sort of yogic anything. You don't have to practice any of that stuff. Mindfulness is about cultivating my awareness in the moment, my attention in the moment. May, you asked to see my earrings closer? Your attention in the moment. And you can do that without mudras. You can do it without mantras. You can do it without yoga. All you need are your senses, right? My finite senses are actually the thing that keeps me in the present moment. And then when I use those senses to anchor myself into the present moment, I can expand my consciousness to receive much more beyond my senses. Remember we were talking about surface tension created by the conscious mind? That when we are awake and in the beta gamma brainwaves, it creates a kind of surface tension that we can consider waves or ripples, right? Thoughts, emotions, all these things happening up here that we're like, well, thoughts more, brain activity, consciousness up here, doing all this interesting stuff up here. While that's all happening, the stuff that's underneath struggles to resurface, struggles to come up. But stuff that creates a lot of pressure can still break through that, right? So even if I'm conscious and awake, sometimes I have an obsessive thought, or sometimes I have, not unobsessive thought, but I have obsessive thoughts that start to activate in my brain. I have emotions that come up and become triggered within the system while my conscious mind is still doing this stuff. But they only come up to be expressed and to be released, like bubbles, like farts, like gas, right? So when we practice, actually, let me put it this way. That surface tension, more of that surface tension is created when my brain is my attention is starting to slip away from the present moment. The more I pull my attention away from the present moment, the more of that is created, right? Because ultimately, my state of balance is to actually be here in the present moment, fully in my body, fully in my experience in the here and now. When I start to do this, pull my consciousness away from the here and now, it creates tension because my consciousness wants to come back to right here and now. My system is self-aligning. But if I have gone so far off balance that my system spends all its time here, I'm not going to experience the present moment much at all. Now remember, this can be a protective measure. Maybe I decided to do this, or my system decided to do this because it wasn't safe for me to be in the present moment. That can be some pretty serious low chakra, root chakra challenges, or second chakra challenges that pull us out of the present moment because it's not safe to be in the present moment. And a lot of times, anxiety can be triggered when we come in to the present moment, right? And when we align our attention with the present moment, there is a kind of calm that comes over our system. Leash, if I drank, I'd turn every time farts came into Bhakti Bites during a drinking game. Last year, we were actually joking about how we should create some kind of game because I have several stories that I love a ton, so I'll use those as examples. There's several quotes that I will use repeatedly. So when you're here for a while, you'll start to hear my repertoire of things that I refer to. And we joked, not about making it a drinking game, right? But I don't know. Om every time you hear it. I don't know. Trey. So if we encourage people to smash their willful ignorance and cognitive dissonance with discernment and meditation, is that a threat? It's a threat? Yes. Yeah, it is a threat to a system that relies on you to be fodder for the system, that relies on your attention, your time, your resources, your energy, you as a workforce piece of the workforce, right? You as a voter, you as a consumer. It needs you to be relatively unconscious and ignorant of these things, of the ways that it manipulates you into doing those things. Do I really need a new car every couple of years? No. Do I really need the nice house that fits in the right neighborhood? No. Do I really need the new fall colors for makeup? Do I really need makeup? A lot of these things, right? A lot of these things are given to our cultures and they're meant to keep our attention on the external self and keep our attention on the future and the past, not on the here and now. Thank you for being here too, Cody. Sometimes, Eve, you say sometimes you're wanting to move quicker than you do and you get stuck and frustrated. So one of the things that can indicate, right, that we still need to work on our intentional cultivation of our attention is when we fight with time. If you feel like you don't have enough time, if you feel like this is taking too much time, if you feel like you're behind time, right? You're behind the right amount of time on your journey. You feel like you're going too slow. You feel like you're behind the crowd. You feel like you're not getting there fast enough. You feel like maybe you got there too early. You feel any of these sorts of things are just indicators that we need to work on cultivating our awareness of time, because time and space are relative to the observer. This is not a far-fetched concept. Time and space are relative to the observer. What does that mean? That means when I stand here, right, there's nothing in between me and you. So we have this perspective. My son and I did a really fun game the other day. I was like, close your eyes and turn around, right? So he just closed his eyes and he shifted. Now this is my perspective. And now this is your perspective. Both of our perspectives changed because my attention went somewhere else. Yes, the illusion is that time and space is a stage that we move on. But quantum mechanics, Einstein himself, discovered that in fact, time and space are relative to light. What is your attention? What is your observation? But a kind of light that we direct at things. Speaking of light, it's getting funky, huh? Now it's too dark? I don't know. It's important to be able to have the time to get to know and build self-awareness with things. We create the time. So much of spirituality is simplicity, Ben. Technological advancement leads to distraction if you allow it. Yes, these can be our tools, but they can also be our very, very much our demise, right? Happy Monday, Brian. How are you? Hey, Chelsea. Is that better? Okay. Sorry, guys. That was getting really bright over there. Cody, my love, ask away, ask anything. Come join the Discord and ask any day or night. Ask questions on my content anytime you feel like it comes up. Don't feel pressured in this space. There's no pressure in this space. We are not in the business of creating a battle within ourselves. Pressure is force. We are cultivating an inner sense of power that does not require force. The external world says force, fight, push, pull, take, win, right? Make it happen. Power. True sense of inner power is not needing to force anything. Like I said, your inner guides, the wiser parts of yourselves, are not going to chase you down and force you to become enlightened. However, I will add that the system does have a kind of movement to it, right? The system is built like everything else in the universe. It means to expand and to grow. That Fibonacci sequence thing, right? Starts down here and goes up and out and up and out. Your system is self-aligning, self-correcting. Your system is intended to grow and expand. So in this way, sure, we can stay in our ignorance, but our system will actually push us out naturally of ignorance. The only way we can really stay in ignorance is if we force ourselves to do so. But our culture teaches us exactly how to do that, which is to shut off our mind from perceiving anybody else's perspective as valuable, or close off our mind from all these other perspectives and only believe these ones. Cody, how can I step into my highest self? Okay, there's several answers for that, right? There's like, oh my God. First, how do you find that higher self? How do you hear that higher self? How do you embody that higher self? Well, first of all, the higher self is in the here and now. The higher self is not in yesterday, and the higher self is not in tomorrow. So if you're searching somewhere else for our higher self, you're already turning yourself away from it, right? You're already walking away from the higher self. I will give you a tool. I will give you a tool, because this is one I learned a little while ago, and I've been meditating for a long time. But when I found this tool, I was like, oh snap, that is a cheat code. That is 100% a cheat code to get yourself into a place where you feel there is at least the space to invite your higher self. We don't search. If we search, then the thing is outside of us. We acknowledge the thing is outside of us. If I am seeking, then I acknowledge the thing is not here yet. So when I go to meet in my inner landscape, my higher self, I invite the higher self I know already exists in the here and now to be with me. I love you too. Thanks, Harley. It's supposed to, okay. Cody says, you make this so fun and joyous. And it's funny because that triggered my like something in there. And I want to pause with that because I do that on purpose. I do that on purpose because laughter is the best medicine. Because playfulness is a healing balm. Because curiosity and willingness is the magic, is the power of the child's eyes and the childlike expression and interaction with the world. A child looks at the world as opportunity, as expansive and spectacular and exciting and new. And we forget that because why? Because we start to believe that we know everything there is to know. So Sure, we could take it really seriously, and there's a lot of places that you can take things seriously, and there are some places within us that are important to take seriously. But I find even in the most serious moments that a smile creeps across my face. In the most profound, epic, like, moments of connection and expansion that I have ever had, I swear to you, there is laughter in the background. I am certain that the prana, this resonance, this echo that flows through absolutely everything in the universe, this energy, is God laughing. Because in the deepest places that I have connected, in the most expansive places that I have been, that's what I hear. And so that reminds me again and again, why so serious? I don't know, because I believe I have to take it seriously, because I believe I should furrow my brow and fight. Oh, shit! That's more of influence from my culture that says this is a battle, this is an uphill journey, it's gonna be fucking hard, it's gonna take you lifetimes and lifetimes to do, and maybe it will. But it's your choice. And when we learn to exercise our power of choice, then we cultivate a kind of strength that's not accessible by using force. A kind of strength that buffing yourself out will never give you. Cody says, I've been allowing my inner child to shine. I've been talking with nature. Hello, how are you? Yes. One of my favorite things to do to connect with my inner child is to lay in the grass and search for the tiniest things. Or just in general, anywhere. Search for the tiniest things. Get up really close to really small things. Yesterday, I discovered that this big green stuff in my yard, I don't even know what it is. I'm an herbalist, but this is not on my herbal whatever, and I haven't looked it up. It has these itty bitty tiny little purple flowers on it. And they're blooming, but they're like slightly bigger than the eye of a needle. Sunshine. I spent 15 years in addiction. Now that I'm clean, growth is the best high I've ever experienced. That is the beauty of mindfulness. Is that it opens our experience to an expansion beyond the limitations of our perception. And those things do give us the like, whoa, psychedelic colors. Whoa, I just saw my heart leap out of my chest. Whoa, I might be floating, right? These things begin to happen when we align ourselves with the interaction between the infinite and the finite. Narsart, for you, it's hard to unlearn the lesson of seen and not heard. Being silly can be loud. Yes. Yes. And what does that do for our energy systems? But it causes an imbalance. When we get that message early young, that's the solar plexus. Because when starts developing, 18 months or a little bit later than 18 months, starts developing. And this is our first expression of like, I am me, and this is how I'm going to be, and I'm going to interact with the world. The root chakra says, am I safe? Okay, cool. The second one says, are my needs going to be met when I ask for them to be met? Okay, cool. My third one says, can I say something about it? Can I be me about it? Can I do something about it? And many of us, I mean, literally in this culture, we call it the terrible twos. So that tells you exactly what our culture thinks about children who are expressive in the solar plexus. But this is where we balance our will. This is where we balance our sense of autonomy versus having shame and doubt about ourselves and our expressions. If this gets thwarted, that energy may go back down, or that energy may skip up and then develop an imbalance up here somewhere. A lot of times when we experience lower trauma, we pull that energy up to the heart and above because it's way safer. And in this culture, I am accepted when the actions that I take are for other people and taking care of everybody else, right? Especially if I martyr myself and like in the actual sense of like just doing and giving and giving and giving and giving and never receiving. That's an imbalance, but that's accepted in my culture. So many of us pull it up here. For some of us, this is accepted in our culture. You want to go into the military, you want to become a full-time boxer, you want to, I don't know, be a shark kind of deal, like take things from people and be aggressive and forceful. This is accepted in our culture for certain people. So they're going to develop this big open solar plexus, which is going to cause a deficiency up in the upper chakras. They're not going to be able to connect to their heart as well. They're not going to be able to connect to their higher wisdoms as well, because so much of this energy is being spewed out of our center for will and becomes aggression and over control and things like that. Trey, self-healing is amazing, but not super profitable. Of course it's not profitable because it's not supported by our culture. And I think we get, I don't want to, nope. I'll let that thought finish itself. Aw, Cody. You can rest here. Okay. So this is really, really important, and this is something that I would like to put more energy into putting out there, is the way that our systems develop based on those early experiences, the way that it affects our energy patterns later on in life, and then the way that those energy patterns lead us into behavioral patterns, thought patterns, relationship patterns, emotional patterns, all are rooted in the early inculturation process. Yeah, the Discord, guys. So the link for my Discord is on the Patreon page or on my Linktree. The link for my Linktree is in my bio. It's not clickable because I'm not a business account. But it's Linktree at Move with Change. And I am patreon.com/Move with Change. It's free to get into the Discord. If you can't find those things or don't know how to get to those links, that's okay. You can also just send me a message after class or during class if you want to right now. I try to get to all my messages afterwards. Jeremy, it's the elite and world powers that use the knowing against us through legislation, banking, and medicine. I think it's important for us to walk a line right now. Walk a line between blaming the system itself and the people who are currently perpetuating the system, and recognizing that it's and letting go of the blame and letting go of the finger pointing, to see it as an overarching pattern that we are actually moving out of, rather than a force to be fought against because they are using force. The system is using force. To fight fire with fire is to create a wildfire. To fight force with force is to create a struggle. Again, is there a time and a place for force and wildfires? Yes. And we need, it's my opinion, I can't tell you what to do. It's my opinion that we need to be cultivating our inner sense of power, because that is far more powerful than trying to use force at this stage. Jeremy, no, I will speak the truth. They will receive their karma. Truth is an expansive thing. And truth is only based on our perspective. And you can keep that perspective as long as you'd like. Again, everyone can choose their own perspective. We all are different facets on the whole, right? No one has to share my perspective with me for it to be valid and true. And for all intents and purposes, your perspective is valid and true because you believe that it's valid and true. But what I'm getting at here, Jeremy, is releasing the fight, is releasing the tension, the push and the pull, because the system relies on that external engagement. The system relies on you fighting it. The system relies on divisiveness. The system relies on the push and pull. And the truth is as an individual, I don't have a lot of forceful power out in the external world. And it's what's causing us, many of us, to feel powerless right now, feel frustrated, and feel small in a world that these things are happening by force that we don't have a lot of control over. I can't go out there and stop a war. I can't go walk up to the doors of the White House and make them fucking do something. But when I cultivate a sense of power, a sense of autonomy, a sense of courage and strength that does not require force, then they cannot reach me in the same way. They cannot push and pull my energy. They cannot get my system all worked up into a fight or flight mode. They cannot manipulate me with this story and that contradicting story and that gaslighting technique and that manipulation thing and this smoke and mirrors game. I have beloved music. It says there's no they, the elite. It's a projection from within us. It's auto-corrects as we self-heal. That's what I love about the healing process, about doing this mindfulness process, is a lot of stuff starts to self-correct. Love you too. New hair. I'm just watching it. That's God. I can tell you. I can yell psalms at my TV like Super Bowl and C, D, and C more. To snakes. Interesting. What an interesting experience you're having, Jeremy. That's really interesting. Yeah. I'd love to hear more about it if you're in the Discord and want to share it with us and talk about it. Narsart, I was indoctrinated against holistic medicine and it's still underneath my new knowledge. Yep. Again, a grave misdirection in a culture that wants you to stay unwell. Is to direct you away from the things that actually give you your wellness and longevity. Trey saying it's a frequency. Yes, it is. It is. And the density of the energies of manipulation and the gaslighting and the greed and the things like that that are occurring in our world right now is a frequency, and it's very, very dense stuff. And it's like crabs in the bucket. They need you to engage in it for it to be real. The less you engage in it, the less power it holds. Does that mean denial? Does that mean apathy? Does that mean disassociation? No. Right? There's a difference between being conscious and present, aware, and apathetic, or underwater, right? We can be underwater, we can be on the surface, or we can be above the water and out of it and looking down. Hey, cheese puffer lover. I'm going to go ahead again, guys. For those of you who are just coming in, remember that we are cultivating better boundaries in this space. This is a CAYA space, a come as you are space, and the mark of a tolerant society is intolerance of intolerance. If you are coming in to be intolerant, divisive, or manipulative, or things like that, you're just going to be muted. You're welcome back for the next live anytime you'd like. You can come back again and again and again. You have every opportunity to come back in and cultivate a sense of personal responsibility so that you can cultivate a safe space with us. If you do not have the responsibility to cultivate a safe space, there are a million other places where you can go engage in force, in divisiveness, in push and pull, in energetic exchange. You can go be energy vampires and belittle people and do all of that kind of low density stuff over there. We are not doing that in this space. While we used to give more time and attention and lip service to folks in here, I'm no longer willing to do that. I trust that you have the capacity to engage responsibly with yourself and with other people. I know that you have that capacity, and I know that it's a choice to engage in it or not. Own it. Own it. Cody, I have a great recent story about how Western meds try to, what'd you say? Try to ruin me? Yeah, me too. Me too. I have lots of them, right? Long story. Jeremy, you're asking me to review revelations about lawless man. I'm definitely in the realm right now of reviewing certain pieces of the Bible. However, I have been through it, and along with several other religious texts. And the Bible is not the one that is my primary mode of understanding our reality. And I also understand it as both historical and metaphorical. I do not use it as factual, and I definitely don't use it as my guidebook for the way to see the world. Because in and of itself, it is one perspective, and therefore, by its existence, it is limited, because it is the one perspective. There are many different perspectives we can take. If I want to see the whole of creation, I have to accept that my perspective is limited. And I must accept that there's a value of somebody who even has a completely opposite view from me. Both are true. And no one single facet can see the entire truth. This is why it's important for us to share. This is why it's important for us to value each other. This is why it's important to build community and talk about these things and share our different perspectives. Jay Tamara, have I been studying a different language? Not lately. Sunshine. Jeremy, right on. We used to align. Good luck to you. Are you saying we no longer align because I don't believe that Revelations is the exact truth of what's happening right now? That's okay. That's okay. If that's important to your worldview and you do not allow anybody else into your reality that doesn't share that worldview, then that will be the only worldview that you will experience, and that will be your truth, and it's okay for you to choose that truth. So it's okay. See you later. Have a good day. Sunshine, you said you don't believe that it's the Bible that we had when it was first made. Well, that is true by the fact that it has been rewritten. And the reality is that that's a book that it was written by man, and man is fallible. I don't just mean men, right? But people. It was written by humans. Ajna, no, we're gonna leave him alone. We're gonna chill out. No, I know. Sir, can you sit down, please? Can you sit here? I will pet you while he's outside. They have a little beef. Narsart, I think we can talk about different reasons why religion was created, but I want to get away from the blame and seeing religion itself as an all in all bad thing. I don't think it's an all in all bad thing. I think it has a purpose, serves a purpose, and while we are needing certain types of relationships, certain types of energies in our lives, it does serve a purpose, and it can guide us to deeper and more profound truths, right? If we are willing to see it as more than just face value, I'm just going to read these words and follow these rules, and that's going to be the end all be all of truth. But humans are fallible. When even in my most clear moments of conversing with divinity and spirit, the messages don't always come through in clear, concise words. Why? Because my language is limited. And we are talking about and trying to conceptualize of something that is not limited. Again, the old game that I used to love when I was a kid, when it first was introduced to me, somebody said to me, try to imagine the infinity of the universe. Can you? Most of us can't. Because the brain wants boundaries. The brain wants a beginning, middle, and an end. Because the brain is finite. It shows you that my senses here cannot perceive of it in the same way that I want them to or believe that they can. New hair. I always wondered what was outside the universe. So that's an exploration that I find really fun too, and one that I have been on for a little while, and I'd love to show you a little concept, a little drawing that came from meditations and on that, on, you know, on finding the edge of the universe and what is beyond the universe, and are there other dimensions and things like that, right? Mary Beth, are we talking about mediumship? No. We are talking about mindfulness. We're talking about our inner cosmos and everything that's available within our inner cosmos. So, can't imagine knowledge I've never had. Ooh, same thing works for manifestation. Can't imagine abundance. I can't. Hey, it's okay. They're just people. People are people. It's okay. They can people too. Do you need a second? Hold on, guys. Sit, please. Thank you. So they're probably just visiting the neighbors, and it's not worth yelling at them. I know that you want to have a conversation with everybody and anybody who comes through the neighborhood, but some people are actually a little put off by the volume of your bark. You know, I know that you're a chatty guy. I know. But some people don't like to be yelled at. Mm-hmm. And some dogs don't like to be yelled at. Mm-hmm. So we're going to stay in here in our nice, peaceful space. It's okay. It's okay. We will wait until Boo is out there later, okay? We'll go out there and we'll talk to them later. Okay? I love you too. Vote for Jesus. I feel like it's timeless, no ending or beginning. It always was, is, will be. Okay. So, thought game for a moment here. I don't know if I have things to draw this on. So imagine, you know the thing at the mall or whatever, where you put a coin on the edge and it will go around the edge and then slowly start to tip into and spiral down into the center, right? So this, in a meditation, came to me as a symbol, as an analogy for our enlightenment process. Because when we first begin to enlighten our system, which means just gathering information about our inner space, when we first become aware of this inner space and start to interact with it, that's kind of like being on the edge of that thing, right? Ow, are you okay? That's kind of like being on the edge of that thing. Your coin is not really tipped, and in fact, it's not even going very fast. If you really wanted to, you could grab your coin and get off the track, right? You could go back to what you knew. You could learn a little bit here and there and go, okay, I can still function in my life. Now, the more that coin goes around, not only does time itself change, right? Because there's a quickening. For those of you who have dipped into the self-care work, you know that there is kind of a gravity to it, kind of a speed to it, kind of a movement to it. It's almost as if when you step on this track, there's a point at which you can't get the fuck off. And we can also say, right, that but you can't unknow things, right? I can't close doors in my mind once they've opened, certain things, right? You can't unlearn them. You can't unsee them. So in that way, we know that there is actually even a direction to it, or at least the illusion of a direction to it, right? The experience of a direction to it. So then my coin is now dipped down in here, and my coin is moving faster and faster and faster until I reach this space where the coin itself no longer even looks like a coin, but it becomes this whole other thing, this circular, all the way encompassing that narrow pathway with its entirety, right? Filling up that space, even just as a one thing, but also becomes many other things. However, it was during a particular meditation that I was sitting with this, and I was watching that coin go down in the inside. And then I saw the other end of a black hole. Right? I believe at this point in quantum theory, we understand that there's a possibility that out of black holes, the other end of a black hole is to appear somewhere, is actually connected to space and time. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see if there's somebody here. Just checking on you. Do yourself, please. I'll be done in a few minutes. Oh yeah, fill it up with water, and then put the soap in there and stomp a ton on it, and then once I'm done, I'll put some bleach in it so it can soak. Okay? Are you coming in, or you want to talk to them some more? Did you boof? Okay. Okay. I think he's had his discussion with the neighbors. So, no coin thing at the mall here in Iowa, Star Muse. I don't know if they have them anymore, right? I haven't really seen them that much. So, anyway, the point there is that there's a piece where the other end of the black hole emerges elsewhere. And we also are exploring this idea that there are many different universes, many different dimensions, right? Where all of these different aspects exist. Consider for a minute the fact that we also talk about this universe from a perspective of Sophia. Of an individual. Almost as if we are within the body of an individual. If God is the whole, then I am unable to see the whole for what it is when I am inside of it. Now, these are just explorations, right? I'm not telling you that this is the truth of all truths and nothing but the truth. But consider these explorations. Because if Sophia is manifest as this universe, then is it possible Sophia did her own enlightening process and emerged out the other side as the experience of an entire universe? So like a multiverse? Yes. Almost as if everyone within this universe, every cell within my body has the opportunity to enlighten itself and become its own self. Its own universal self. And then really becomes the work of going way deep in and exploring my inner cosmos as if they are their own universe. New hair, why is Earth so hard? Because we're ignorant. Because we end up, because it's the opportunity to walk ourselves out of ignorance, because it's the opportunity to walk ourselves to get lost and find our way home. It's the opportunity to be broken so we can heal. It's the opportunity to really not like ourselves and not trust ourselves so that we can fall in love with ourselves and build a trusting relationship. If all I am was me, I don't have the opportunity to fall in love or out of love. I don't have the opportunity to feel lost or be found. I don't have the opportunity to experience these kinds of things if I am everything and I know everything. So to experience these different things, I have to forget the things that I know. Chelsea, I love you. You guys are so sweet. Revbird, and what do we do when the institution won't see this? Should we try to work within? I think really, I do believe that the most powerful work that we do is within. The most powerful work that we do is within. And I think the greatest misdirection is that our culture tells us that everything that we need to do is outside of us. What a great way to keep you ignorant of truth. If truth exists inside of you, then to be told that all the truth exists outside of you. You will spend your whole life looking for all the truth outside of you and not being sure what's true or not because we haven't done the inner work to reflect on that truth. and you're feeling energetically drained, I encourage you to try this Shukri Mudra. The Shukri Mudra, pull all your fingers together to touch the thumb. This balances all 5 elements in the body. You can hold this mudra anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Sometimes I like to tap with the mudra if I'm feeling something in a particular area, or I like to hold it here in my solar plexus if I am feeling particularly drained. Cody. I was raised by Italians too. And also, right, certain cultures eat with their hands like this. This mudra, balancing all 5 elements, also helps with digestion, also helps with clarify the blood and balance the heart rate, clears the mind. Because it balances all 5 elements in the body, it balances the whole system. Can I repeat the last part? Which part? It balances all 5 elements in the body. Rev Bird, that is why I don't work with any particular church. You say that you work within the institution and the energy is so inactive. As a mystic in the church, I feel alone. I completely understand. And honestly, again, that to me is indicative that the institutions are falling apart, that the institutions are deteriorating. And we actually need the institutions to deteriorate so that we can find that inner wisdom within. So we can find God, we can find our inner guru, we can find our captain, our truth, our perception within. This mudra helps with every bit of your system. And eating with your hands is actually really good for your digestion. Rami, do I feel any tingling at the top of my head sometimes? Yeah. I work with energy and have been since I was a kid, so the experience of tingling in my body is like every day, all the time. Not all the time, different ways in different places. Trey, yes. So when doing self-work, taking care of yourself, being self-centered in a world that tells you to be selfless or selfish, this world only works in duality, or is at least evolving out of duality, but works in duality. You are either selfish or selfless. There's no self-centered. And so that push and pull, fighting for one of the two imbalances, will absolutely does continue to create divisiveness in a way that says, oh, you're selfish if you're doing self-work because I'm selfless, so I am so much higher and whatever. Oh, I'm going to be selfish because fuck the world and everybody else and nobody's going to take care of me, right? Like it's an imbalance either way, and it's going to mean it as soon as we go to one side or the other, it's going to create tension. Why? Because the system is self-correcting. My system wants to find balance, so as soon as I start to fall off, my system's going to experience tension. Because my system is at rest, at peace when it's aligned. Jay Tamara, I'd love to hear your story. Come into the Discord. You're in there already. Tell us the story in there. Yes, Trey, quoting Ram Dass. The work I do on myself is the gift I give to the world. Why? Because my experience of the world, the entire experience of the world is within me. And the way I interact with the world is colored by everything within me and the lens that I perceive it from. The lens that I perceive it from is something that was either given to me by my culture and through the enculturation process and never examined, and therefore I'll remain ignorant behind my lenses, or becomes examined so we can learn to shift our lenses and widen our lenses and unfocus our lenses from such like a point to be able to perceive a lot more. But ultimately everything I experience is inside of me. And Rev Bird, I think it is that kind of thing. It's a really personal choice. It's been very hard to decide if you should leave or not. I still have that feeling like I do want to disappear into the woods somewhere and just become, a hermit kind of spiritual practitioner, but I feel very, very, very compelled that we are intended to do things collectively right now. Again, if the collective evolution, right, if we are the ocean, we are the ocean, and the vibration of the ocean, the temperature of the ocean is raising. That is akin to our enlightenment of our vibration, our frequency raising. The earth itself is raising our frequency, and we are privy to that. We are conduits for that energy. So there's nothing we can really do except for fight against our energy aligning. And that means that when life starts to reorder for us, if we fight for it to stay exactly the same as it's always been. Remember, we try to stay in stagnation, which is exactly the opposite of what our systems and all of creation is doing, which is expanding and growing. And if we try to resist that flow, this is what it means to get in flow with life, right? To be in flow is to just align with the fact that the universe is expanding and growing. And the more I stand in the way of that flow, the more tension and pressure I'm going to feel. The more staunchly rooted I am in right here, right now, and refusal to move, the more rigid and stiff I become, the harder life is going to hit me. When I become flexible and fluid and understand that there is a flow and trust that flow, then I can ride with the flow of the universe, and then the universe brings me to what I need. The universe brings me the things that I want, the things that are for me. And in my ignorance, oftentimes I don't know what I actually want and need because I'm ignorant of my entire system. So how am I supposed to make decisions on what my system really needs if I don't know my entire system? So work on the system and at the same time, trust the universe. Ben, really, what do forks and spoons do? That's a really good question because I actually just thought of that one the other day. I was eating food with my hands, right, and then was like, and then chose to grab a pair of chopsticks, and I'm like, I wonder if the chopsticks are better than the fork. I don't know. Hey, James, how are you? Uprising. Do I believe in God or energy? I believe that they are one and the same. Trey, you said it's the age of Aquarius, humanitarianism. Yes, we are in the age of Aquarius. Pluto is in Aquarius. And then you're talking about the Hopi elders that say the age of the lone wolf is over. Know your food, know your water. The idea of the lone wolf is really interesting because I see that people take the lone wolf thing as being like, oh, I am just good on my own and I don't need anybody. The reality is that the lone wolf is not good on their own. The lone wolf is a wolf that left or got kicked out of a pack before and is on the journey of finding themselves a new pack to align with and to be healthy and thrive within. When a lone wolf, it remains on its own and never finds that pack, those wolves rarely thrive. You can survive on your own as a lone wolf, but the intention of the lone wolf story is actually about finding connection when you've lost that connection. Because we are interdependent. We are pack animals. We are a collective. Rami, is there something you need to do when you're feeling tingling at the top of your head? Not in particularly, right? We are human beings, not human doings, so you can very much just be with the sensations occurring in your body, and I encourage you to be curious and willing to experience them and curious about them without having to seek answers, without needing to figure it out, right? Sunshine, do I think everything is a planned like a soul contract? I am still on the fence about the amount of intention, conscious intention that we have as individuals in coming into our lifetimes. I think that there is a lot less intention like the way that we think about it as humans because of our ignorance and limitation and reliance on our brain, and more of intention by the fact that there is a flow and a way that nature works through frequency, through movement, through expansion. And so if there's a soul contract, it's more that the energy signature that I am is directly aligned, is well aligned with certain experiences and certain energies. Like if the entire ocean is warming up, then bit by bit, each drop warms up in its own way, in its own place. So bit by bit, each of us evolve, raise our frequency in our own way on our own, but that adds to the collective and leads the collective, the whole ocean, to warm, right? But do I think there's some daddy God in the sky telling me what to do and demanding that I do it, and if I don't follow rules, I'm going to be punished? No. Because that is a very human, fallible sort of behavior. That is an imbalance. That is a control tactic. And that is not alignment. That is not an authentic expression of our system. Because the planet, not the planet, the universe itself is love, because love is expansion, love is creation, love is acceptance, love is value of everything being good and right as it needs to be here and now, and recognizing the miracle that that is and seeing the beauty within that. So everything is unconditional love. When we humans put condition on it, we start to close our minds. As soon as we put conditions, we start to narrow our vision. We start to narrow our perspective. Happy Monday, Deja. Rev Bird, you feel like you're struggling to let go of the identity of a pastor? So shift the identity to be yours, right? Spiritual practice, our spiritual practice truly is a unique and individual thing. And so give yourself permission to explore it as a unique and individual thing, which means that it's not going to look like anybody else's path. I was really lucky when I was young and wanted to be a nun, and had a Catholic priest that, because I was Catholic at the time, and who really listened to what I had to say. And actually helped me see that I didn't belong in a nunnery and I didn't belong in the Catholic Church, and gave me permission to leave. That was huge. I was right about getting my first communion, and I was really struggling with it. And he pulled me aside, and he's like, "What's up? What's going on?" And I explained to him, I don't appreciate the, what's the word? Contradictions. There's contradictions here. There's contradictions here that I need to figure out, and I need to leave the church to figure it out. I need to go see God and Christ outside of the church. I need to see the teachings and the understandings in real life, in real people. Otherwise, they're just metaphorical stories for me. They're not really anything except for somebody telling me how to behave. And when I see people around me who say that they are Catholics and say that they believe in God and say that they walk the path of Christ, but then they are behaving in paradox to it, like that, I need to sort that, because I cannot be okay with that. I cannot follow that. I need to get my charger so that I can charge the computer over here, and then I will catch up on comments. Give me just 1 second.
Kitten cat. Come on, dog, dog. Good boy.
If things come crashing down, just know I'm okay. Okay. Ben, you heard mental repels energy. My pencil doesn't work. Mental repels energy. Interesting. I'd like to think on that. Lord's chips. If you don't follow rules, you will be punished. It's called karma. The concept of karma is quite an interesting thing, isn't it? And sometimes in the West we have a misconception about it because we believe karma to be a very simplistic thing. If I do something that's bad, I get bad karma. If I do something that's good, I get good karma. But the question is who's deciding what is good and what is bad? And what is good for me may be bad for someone else. So it's not really so simple as anybody does a bad thing and therefore you get bad karma. Karma, the word karma, means action. It is the actions we interact with the external world. It is the actions that we do that interact with the finite reality, the thing outside of us, that we do outside of us. It just means action. And any action we do interacts with the cycle of samsara, which is the cycle of karma, and staying in that cycle. And we can stay in that cycle as long as we choose to interact in that way with the outside world. And that is just one belief system. It's just one perspective, which that perspective may not align for everybody and may not be useful for everybody. So again, we can we can step back, not shy away, we can step back from saying that there is any one set of rules for anybody. Because ultimately it's for you to explore. Do I believe that there is a set of rules for me? Yes. And learning those rules for myself was imperative to aligning myself with my truth, with my dharma, with my purpose, and with reality in a way that actually is expansive. But it's important not to condemn everybody to living in the exact same box, right? Yeah, I have beloved music. I like to talk about the energy body a great deal. If you have any questions about the chakras or about what they mean and like how they affect our reality in real time today, definitely throw those out there because Squam, any advice on how to improve the ability to channel? Yes, clarify your third eye. Work with your third eye and work on listening to your inner voices. Before you intend to receive any insight from anybody anywhere else, work on cultivating the quiet space for that, to invite anything of that energy in. If your mind is busy and chatting away, it's going to be very difficult to hear anything else. And if you are not familiar with the ego aspects of yourself, of your body, and of your brain, then very well likely one of those ego aspects is going to step in and say, hey, I'm the person you're channeling. Hey, I'm your wiser self. Hey, I know all the rules. I know how to do things. Your ego oftentimes hops up first and says, oh, you're looking for me? So we must become familiar with our inner landscape. We must become familiar with how to cultivate our attention into the present moment so that we can release the tension in our systems so we can invite the space for those things to come to us. Do not try to chase down energies out there in the ether. I mean, you can. Let me say it that way. You can do whatever you want to do. You can all do whatever you want to do. I personally advise against chasing things down or seeking things out. Why? Because to do that means that they are outside of you. They are somewhere else. And oftentimes that creates tension that pushes them away even further or requires us to perceive ourselves as leaving ourselves. So work on your inner landscape. Me too, Regal Poison. So much beauty in the search for knowledge and understanding. In the process, right, of enlightening the system. Ben, karma is unbiased. Yeah, there is no intention to punish anyone. Karma is not there trying to